it's TheFrXion here, or Tiger Tank 1-2, how many call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks, where we are talking about update 1.19, and we're talking about the experimental equipment. We're going to be going through this entire list. We're going to be talking about what the new experimental equipment will entail, what it means for World of Tanks, and when it will roll out. Now, obviously, I don't know what has been talked about. I have never heard of experimental equipment beforehand, but Wargaming are going to be rolling this out pretty damn soon. So, experimental equipment is going to be new equipment which combines stats from two or more sets of already preset present in the game. Now, this is quite interesting because this experimental equipment sounds like it's going to be the ultimate equipment which combines several things. You cannot purchase this equipment, at least so far. Remember, they always said bonds can only be earned by playing the game with certain vehicles at tier 10. Eventually, they added it to tier 9 premium tanks to make them more enticing so that you buy them. So we never know if this is the true form in the end. We will provide enough opportunities to obtain a lot of experimental equipment over the course of the next year. We will start right now. Pieces of experimental equipment will be included into well-deserved rewards. So the well-deserved reward, which is the reward that gives us quite a bunch of items for sticking around by the game, which is now the 11th year for me. That means that we are actually going to be getting these well-deserved rewards. It's actually going to be 12th year in just a couple of months. So this is going to be the first time we'll receive these pieces of experimental equipment. They will also become part of holiday ops. Now, the holiday ops where there are a lot of premium loot boxes, where you might just be able to buy some of them out of premium loot boxes, but I doubt that. And the Battle Pass 2023 season, so that's the next Battle Pass that is coming. During the common test, you'll be given experimental equipment on login and every day. So, okay, we'll get this. We can try it out. The test server 1.19 is actually out right now, and I think we can try it out. So I'm going to be trying it out in the near future. Next couple of days, I'm going to be informing you guys of the changes here. But let's first take a quick look at what these experimental equipment pieces actually, what they look like. So we already know that there's supposed to be like at least two different equipment pieces that are cobbled together, and that they might just be more than two pieces. So it sounds like they're the ultimate equipment piece. You can see the standard equipment, the improved equipment, the bounty equipment, and now the experimental equipment. We're going to have 4 different equipment slots. There's also a new kind of resource. It's called the component resource. And you can see there are going to be 3 different tiers for the equipment right here. So first and foremost, we are going to have, or this is just the first look that we have. We have survival improvement, that's sweet tier 1. We have mobility improvement system tier 1, survival improvement suite tier 2. We have mobility improvement system tier 2, fire control system tier 2, and finally we have mobility improvement system tier 3. So what you can see right here is the first one, the survival improvement suite tier 1, gives you plus 9% to vehicle hit points. Looks quite nice. And also, it doesn't look like you'll need a specialization slot for this equipment type. It doesn't really matter because I don't think that it's supposed to really interact with the specialization slot because we don't have any symbols on top. Fully restores suspension hit points after repairs. Now, this is a bit weird. Does that mean that if somebody tracks me, does 400 damage, I repair my tracks, I'll regain the 400 hit points after I have been tracked and somebody shot me? Because that sounds pretty damn overpowered to me. To internal module durability, plus 60% and plus 40% to suspension durability. But it says fully restores suspension hit points after repair, so it's not just plus 9%. This is the other effect it has, the secondary effect, and the first full effect is that it fully repairs your or restores the hit points that you had before somebody tracked you. So that's quite powerful in my opinion. Mobility improvement is mainly going to be engine power, turret traverse, hull traverse, and minus dispersion. So this is going to be quite interesting, especially for heavy tanks and medium tanks that have maybe bad engine power. And you can see tier 3, it basically gets the plus 3%. Okay, great. My headset just told me that it's charging the battery. I'm going to turn it off real fast. But you can actually see that the different tiers will have different stages. As you can see, we have fire control system tier 2 that doesn't have a tier 1 counterpart somehow. And it's going to give you plus 8% aim time and minus dispersion. So it's basically gun lane drive and the accuracy module at the same time. Okay, so moving on, you can see right here, these are the 3 different tiers, and you can see that when you want to upgrade to the next tier, you'll have to use these construction kits or the components. And you can see to upgrade to level 3, you need 2,000 components. And to demount it, you're going to need 50 components. So it's going to be a new resource. Now, the question is, how do you gain this resource? But we'll have to figure that out in the future. Disassembly, when you're completely taking it apart, it's going to cost you 400 components. Or no, you get 400 components when you disassemble a level 2. So you can somewhat get like components and you can trade it in for the different new experimental equipment. And what you can see right here, this is like, you can basically get 3 of them on your vehicle. So you can run all of them on a single tank, I think it seems to be. This is what it looks like when you're upgrading from tier 1 to tier 2. It's going to cost you 400. And to disassemble, you'll receive like the different components. And it's probably going to be less components than you put in prior. So you can basically upgrade them. And this is like the feature that they are promising us. The overall effect of upgrade level 1 corresponds to that of standard equipment. Upgrade level 2 corresponds to that of upgraded bounty equipment. And upgraded level 3 corresponds to that of improved equipment, i.e. bond equipment. So it's not going to be better than bond equipment or bounty equipment or standard equipment. Well, it's going to be better than standard equipment if it's on level 2 or 3. But it's going to have more features than standard equipment or bounty equipment. So it's going to have 2 features or 2 things combined, which is going to mean that it's going to be better, period, basically. Now, about the components, players will receive experimental equipment of upgrade level 1. The level can be increased using components and new in-game entity that can be obtained by disassembling experimental equipment. The number of components you will get depend on the type and upgrade level of the experimental equipment to be disassembled. The number of components required for upgrading will also vary. Upgrading from level 1 to level 2 will always require fewer components than upgrading from level 2 to level 3, which makes sense, yes. But you're only going to be able to get this by disassembling prior experimental equipment, at least so far. And you can see right here, if you are coming from level 2, if you're going to level 2, it's going to cost you 400. And if you go to level 3, it's going to cost you a whopping 2,000. So the question is, are we going to start off with a set amount of experimental equipment? Or are we going to set off with a certain amount of components? Can we earn more components? Can we buy components? That's probably the most important question. Okay, so this is the example, but we can try it out eventually. I don't want to make this video too long, but I want to go through several things because you can see we right now have fire control system. So we're going to have 3 types of experimental equipment so far. 3 types with 3 different levels, so it's going to be 9 different experimental equipment combinations that you can be running. You're going to have fire control system, mobility improvement system, and survival improvement system. And you can see that the one does increase the aim speed. The other one decreases the gun dispersion during movement and rotation, basically having a vertical stabilizer, which is not as good. But you have like the aim assistance, what is it called? The gun aim, the aim. Yeah, well, either way, you guys know what I mean. And you can see level 3, it's plus 9% aim speed and minus 11.5% in gun dispersion. It's not going to be as good as a single equipment just for gun dispersion, which is the vertical stabilizer, but it's still going to be quite good because 11.5% plus 9% in aim speed, that's quite a deal if you ask me. So you can see mobility improvement system is probably going to be the most interesting one here because you can certainly improve quite a few things because it kind of combines turbo with the other equipment piece, which allows you to turn your tank faster and your gun or turret. And that means this is actually going to be quite a powerful equipment piece. Plus 5 kph, so basically in one single slot, you're running this at upgrade level 3. Ooh, I see a lot of dangers with this already. Finally, survival improvement, which is going to give you the suspension, the vehicle hit points, ammo rack durability, all that kind of stuff. And also, it fully restores suspension hit points after repair, so suspension hit points could be not the hit points that you have on your vehicle, but it could be that it restores the suspension fully back to the normal strength. So when you repair a track that is yellow, it breaks faster, and I think that's what they mean. So the other one is probably a bit too... it's wrong, at least I think. Well, I'll see it in the test server, and I'm going to be updating that soon, and we're going to be trying it out on the weekend, certainly. So, these mechanics, let's go through them real fast, and I'm going to talk about what I think of the mechanics and if I think that this is a good change or not, because I'm going to be very cautious because this is still very new. We haven't tested it out, and I'm going to be pretty cautious. Experimental equipment has the following main and additional bonuses. The main bonus is reflected in the parameter that is displayed first in the description. If this is, for example, a bonus for turbocharger, you cannot mount the same type of equipment on the vehicle. Okay. So you cannot use a turbocharger when you have the mobility improvement system. So I think that's what they want to tell us, because that would be like 10 kph additional top speed. An additional bonus can be received from other types of equipment, one or more from various mechanics. The additional bonus cannot include the effect of equipment from which it was taken. Example given: the full restoration of the suspension durability after repair from improved hardening. So you cannot combine two different equipment pieces that like have like the same bonuses and that affect or have the same effect. You cannot stack it. Okay, that's good to know. Experimental equipment that combines bonuses of two types of equipment is suitable only for vehicles on which both of these types of equipment can be mounted. For example, experimental equipment with gun rammer bonus cannot be mounted on vehicles with autoloaders or auto reloader guns. Okay, that's very important because that means we are not going to be getting experimental equipment, or we're going to be getting experimental equipment with gun rammer bonus, so with a higher rate of fire, but we don't have to worry about all of the sudden LT autoloaders to get a high rate of fire because of that. They're still not going to be able to use that. Experimental equipment has the that combines bonuses of 3 or more types of equipment, or gets bonuses other than from equipment, or has an unusual distribution of bonuses, will have its own conditions for mounting. I'm not sure what these conditions will be, but it sounds interesting. So that there are somewhat equipment. There's equipment that is going to have 3 or more types of equipment bonuses on top of each other. They have to be mounted in a specific way. Experimental equipment does not receive an additional bonus from its slot regardless of upgrade level. So it's not going to get the bonuses I mentioned prior. Experimental equipment is not divided into classes, i.e. the same item can be mounted on a tier 2 or tier 10 vehicle if they meet its requirements. Okay. Is not divided into classes, so you can basically move it from a tier 2 to tier 10, but that means that the tier 2 vehicles, when you have this kind of experimental equipment on tier 2, that's going to be massive because it's going to have like the impact on tier 2 if you have like you know, 9% better aim time and 11.5% less gun dispersion, that's going to have a pretty big impact on players who are new to the game and who might not be getting this kind of experimental equipment. For every piece of experimental equipment, the set of characteristics will not change when the upgrade level is increased. With each new upgrade level, the values of one or several characteristics can increase, but they will never decrease. The weightage of bonuses may be different. Example given, 80% of the gun armor effect and 20% of the vertical stabilizer effect, 60 and 40%. Okay. That's going to be interesting. We'll see what that's going to be like. The cost of mounting, yeah, that's going to be 50 components for tier 2, 100 components for tier 3, 1 the mounting kit or gold for level 1. Okay, so this is quite a bombshell that Wargaming dropped on us. Experimental equipment is something that I did not expect, but it's kind of... well, it's kind of logical that they're moving towards this way or towards this direction, because at the same time, this is like one of the spaces where they can still experiment. This is a test server, but since they are very, like, they seem very assured of themselves that they're going to be pushing this out with the well-deserved rewards, so they're kind of sugarcoating it for us. If we don't like it, well, it's a gift from them to us, so we kind of are happy about it because we get to get new content, but I'm not really sure if this is a good idea in several ways, because combining several things into one, that's going to have quite a large impact on balance in the game. But we don't know that yet. We don't know how bad it is. Wargaming have several ideas about like that they want to keep the balance. They don't want to like destroy the balance completely and make like this equipment piece, the most powerful one, and you know, basically destroy all the other equipment pieces. I don't think that is their plan, but they want to expand it. But the issue is this will end up in the hands of the most successful players probably, but in the hands of all of the players as well. But I think the players who know how to play this game really well, they're going to be using them most effectively, probably. So the question is this going to be a good thing for World of Tanks at this moment in time? But it's a new content piece that seems to be interesting, and I would like to see more of it. But we'll have to see. I'm going to be very diplomatic, very neutral here. I'll see what the test server is like, what this equipment piece is going to be like, or all the equipment there. And we're going to talk about that in a separate video. But tell me, what do you guys think about this? This is very special and very new. I just saw it and I thought I was going to go through it. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm not going to give too much of my opinion onto the topic because we don't know exactly where it's going. So, hope you guys enjoy and tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, have a good one.